I am not certain what I want to call this one. Something along the lines of falling aways and people feeling very differently about each other. It seems to be just what's going on across the board, and granted, this has been ongoing since 2020 as a trend. This across the board kind of falling apart of all sorts of different peoples and whom they're interested in and cared about and everything else. And I think it's indicative of when you're building something, you're not from that person's world, and yet your idea in your head originally is, oh my god, look at the like-mindedness of these people, and so you form an alliance and everybody is on wavelength with this idea that because everybody's got the same ideas, that this will always be a pretty damn good rock solid kind of thing. You have this certain assumption about that person, what they're like, where their values are at. But the thing is, because all of us that are also doing that are also in anamorphisms ourselves, because yesterday we read a new book, and then tomorrow we're going to read a new book, and those two books are having an argument with each other in your head, and then one day you find what you like from both books and you settle that argument and you reconcile it, and that becomes part of your new mind, and helps you express something that was deep down inside. And then finally you get to express that thing deep down inside from two irreconcilable concepts that you were able to piece together reality that made sense to you, and then translate that into life, and present it for other people. And then somebody then turns around and says, my god, those words came out of your mouth? What kind of fucking person are you? I don't know if I can fucking even tolerate you anymore, man. Right? And that's because you see, there are friendships that are primary and friendships that are secondary, right? And if you have a friendship with a business partner, you obviously should have a friendship with a business partner. But if between the two of you, business is the predication the entire time, and you don't change in any other particular kind of way about each other, then the business separates, you're probably not going to be friends anymore. You're going to grow into something different, I think I understood that several years ago. Cheech and Chong finally separated because one said something about their feelings on a subject that was really, really not compatible with the other guy, and so they parted ways. And it's all right. Those 50 years of friendship were fun, but now I can't stand you because you've said this and you've done this about what you said, even though it's had nothing against me. It so stands against all that I believe in that I consider you almost an enemy camp. And that's how it seems like everybody is being at this time. I don't know what to make of people anymore, right? Because in the past, media was not some guy willy-nilly without a prepared script needed zero time to prepare could just turn on their fucking system and speak their mind as a media platform. You know, typically you had to go in the middle of the street in the city where there's the mass population. You had to do your town crier thing. You were throwing out like little publicate, like that's how you get your word out. Now I got my word out, and it's so inconsequential that I can also mention what I had for breakfast and how I'm doing with my girlfriend. Right? It's just like we're all selling ourselves to each other, looking for friends because you know, in many respects, social media as a business platform for the creator has said your full-time job is to run a business and make friends. It becomes a full-time job to make friends because social credit needs to be built on top of actual capital. And now that changes the entire equation depending on how much personal investment you have in a certain level of growth, image, reputation of your social media presence and the brand of your work, your craft. And so this is why, you know, like the reason why the world is functioning the way that it is now, from the macrocosm of big media no longer being a thing. It's just like celebrities were great until you start following them on Twitter every fucking day, and then you fucking realize the actual belief systems of your fucking idols, right? Which then makes you realize, wait a minute, like if that's what they're saying publicly, what the fuck are they saying private? What the fuck are they saying at like political galas? These people run real tight with particularly Democrats, right? It's like this, right? And so, you know, you realize the energetic contribution, right? And so the energetic contribution to the endorsed psychosis of our imagination has been abandoned, and now people are looking at other people to help them find their imagination grounding point. You know, who's got the narrative that helps me shape my narrative, right? And I think most people do that. And I'm not even saying that that's necessarily wrong. I am saying that you are meant to grow to where it's just your own. And I think we have to go into a super harsh level of the individuation process, right? I mean, I don't know if it needs to go as harsh as you get completely isolated from in real life family and community, but I think that it's healthy for people that still think that we are measuring our civilization by social media filters, which is like the persona of a persona under high filtration, as opposed to what it is like to be yourself out in the real world. Can media go away, and without the reinforcement of one fucking single soul that gets you, can you still be yourself and be unneeding of anybody's fucking approval of it? And then how do we really earn trust? How do I earn trust if I am not willing to smile on command and wave on command? And, you know, like I'm here, I'm friendly, I'm supportive, maybe I'm not as participatory as you like for your standard of trust, even though my heart is more there than it lets on. Just sometimes I sit in waiting, like, look, I'm just here because I love everybody. I'm just here because I believe there are threats, so I'm just here in case there are threats, and then I go fight threats. Maybe when I have to fight a threat, then that'll be the moment where everybody actually figures out who I am, why I'm here. Right. That's kind of a short assessment for me of the thing. Right? And the last time I found people that had precisely that attitude, I fell out with them or they fell out with me. So I'm trying, maybe I don't need to be with other people like that. Maybe I need to be the one guy who's like that around my people. Which is part of a way of saying that this little part of me will always be lonely. But that little part of me isn't really lonely because I've done the shadow work and integrated it, and that's a kid inside me that's got me in the reality. So I have myself, and that's how it works. So, right now the challenge of the world is that, like, okay, Steve, we're completely changing the script of how the Matrix and the control grid, which are two different things. The control grid is in the Matrix, but it is not everywhere of the Matrix. Get it? But it only functions in the Matrix. The control grid, and we're going to completely change your relationship with it. Do you lose yourself under the necessary changes? Because you're going to change. Are you going to change so much that you lose yourself? Or are you just not going to be able to handle the function for the new world, right? Because, I've now lived through, like, you could say 3 resets, right? I lived through the reset of 9/11, which changed your relationship with your world. Then I lived through, one could say just 2016 in particular, like, going into that was like, it was kind of like the falling apart, which was its own world, but it was like the transitionary world. And then 2020 was supposed to be the new permanent world, the great dystopia. And then the human heart broke that in 2022. And so since 2022, we've been living in this particular world. And it seems like around 2022 is when a difference was really being made in people's mind. Like, everybody was just, like, they weren't waking up, but their dream had shifted from the nightmare to something pleasant. Vanilla, not so fucking exciting, but not so fucking terrible either. It's kind of like living in limbo. We might be living in a pseudo-limbo because it's a call sign as a latent space, right? We're almost living in a latent space chapter of the function of the world, where the professional power structure is in complete disarray because it still wants to be a control freak, and too many people are beyond control apparatuses. And they haven't figured out the updated codes yet, because they were supposed to use the updated codes that they created in 2020 and 2021, but that only lasted so long, right? Which I suppose it's a macrocosm to the microcosm. A computer software, whether it's a virus or whether it's a program of some sort, it needs periodic updates. Otherwise, it shuts down, it stops functioning, and it may no longer be doing what it's normally doing to the computer, but also it could be kind of taking up space in the computer in a noticeable way, because perhaps there's just that slight lag on the RAM or that slight lag on the processor. You get how that allegory works? All right, what time is it? Ugh. All right, I am not as late as I thought I'd be. I had terrible traffic. I had to fill my tire, which was low. It might have a hole in it where it's like, it's not flat, but it will be flat in like a day. That kind of problem. All right. I will catch you guys later.